Welcome to the Black Delegates podcast. Today's date is July the 8th, 2018. I am your host, the Black Ryan, and my co-hosts today are Ghetto Phenom.
What's good? What's good?
And the box wine poppy himself, Paul. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
All right. So, let's see. We can get right into it. We don't have any kind of house cleaning or anything like that to do. So, let's get straight into this week in Blackness. So, Paul, I'm going to let you go first. It's been a week, man. You had the holiday and everything. So, how was your week?
The week was good, man. Didn't do too much. Nothing special. Nothing notable. Watched did some fireworks with the kid. Man, in the neighborhood I live in, like it's in the suburbs, so I guess they're allowed to have fireworks out here. Man, some people went all out, man. It sounded like literally gunshots out there. It was crazy, man. Just going off. It sounded so close to the house, man. And so like we tried to put the kid to bed around 8:30, 9 o'clock or so like that, even after we did our little fireworks. But man, they were going out there till like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Them things were still going off. So that was a good day. But not much going on, man. Watched a lot of soccer this week. Watched the little World Cup. So I don't know if that counts as being doing anything brown this week. But I watched a lot of soccer. And today, man, really got into that story about those kids. Have y'all been following that story? The kids in the
Oh yes, yes. I wanted to do that. Yeah. I wanted to do that for my story this week, to be honest.
Dude, man, I've been yeah, we can talk about it, man. But I've been like straight glued to the TV since I woke up. I work crazy hours or get up crazy hours. So I was up at like 4:30 this morning. So I came downstairs, made me a little cup of coffee and to kind of turn the TV on. And I've been following it off and on, last week or so like that. Real interested in it. But when I first got up, so I put it on CNN, and man, they started talking about and I started talking about it and saying they were the mission had been underway. So then I started scrolling through the timeline, and man, I just been pretty much glued to the TV all day long, just kind of trying to check it out. It kind of slowed down, and obviously since they got the 4 kids out this morning, but man,
they got something out. Oh, okay. Last I saw was Friday.
They got 4 out this morning, but they're taking a pause like for like 20 hours to reach, get all the divers gear reloaded and stuff like that because they got to go back in. But they didn't
do anything crazy. So all they did was dive them back out because I know they were talking about they might have to stay for 4 months and crazy stuff like that.
Well, it's crazy because it's monsoon season there, and I guess monsoon season doesn't end till like September, October. They were saying, and so it's getting ready. I guess there was like a few days where it slowed down, but now it's picking back up, and so they think that whole cave will be underwater. That whole area where those kids are at will be underwater in maybe in a couple of days. So,
okay.
They're basically the governor of that area of Thailand basically said like this is D-Day. We got this is now or never. We got to move. So but supposedly they took the 4 strongest kids and got them out first. So even though it's looking good so far because they got 4 out,
could go bad quick.
But could go bad quick because there's 9 others left in there, and the coach. I guess the coach was maybe in the worst shape. Because I guess he wasn't eating any food. He was giving it all to the kids to keep them alive. But now they've had food there. But anyway, they got to get them all out. So I don't know. I'm just been glued to it. I'm definitely gonna be glued to it tomorrow. It's just a lot of bad stuff in the world, man. But just a story like that, man, definitely hit my heart and made me feel some kind of way about it. And definitely, man, pulling for those guys and those people that found them, man. If you saw that video of the 2 British dudes that just rolled up. I mean, just. Man, that's amazing video just to have those kids just be alive and all be sitting there in the dark, and how they got so far back in there because they must have been trying to get away from that water, and they were showing like the passages they got to go through. Like there's one part it's like 15 inches wide, man. So they're gonna basically, man. I did a little bit of in the army they made us do like a little bit of digging underground and like kind of crawl under things like that, and I never had like no panic attack, but man, you definitely. Something that tight, you definitely feel super claustrophobic. Like you feel like, man, I can't get back out if I'm up in this tunnel. And so I just can't imagine doing that underwater with a mask and being 11 years old, man. I'd be like,
right.
Ooh. But
muddy and dark. Yeah.
But on the jokes, if that was me in that cave and I was like a little kid, hey, the kids, I'm sure they're gonna get to go to the World Cup and all that good stuff when they get out. But don't you know, my mom would beat my like my mom, all the letters they've been sending their parents. Like my mom, I would write my letter to my mom like, oh, I want to get home and get some McDonald's when I get home. My mom would write me a letter back. I'm gonna whoop you when you get about that tunnel, right? And I'm sure she would do it, man. So shouts to everybody out there, trying to get these kids out there. It's really impressive and just amazing they can do it so fast. But if that was me, my mom would definitely tear me up for having it, and she would basically tell me for having me up on TV looking like a fool and getting lost, she would beat my ass. So.
Right. Prayers to them. And just so y'all know what we're talking about, it's the 13 kids. They were a soccer team. For whatever reason, after practice, they decided to go into these caves and got caught in some flooding and ended up stuck up in a cave about a couple miles in. So in Thailand, right? Thailand,
yep, right?
Thailand.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Prayers to those guys. Prayers.
Yeah. Definitely thought some prayers to them. So I'll go next, and we'll save Ishmael for last. So my week in Blackness. First of all, I want to talk about these old man ailments that I woke up with. So y'all know when you become a man of a certain age, you just wake up hurt. I don't know what happened. I feel like I've been hooping, but I ain't did nothing but sleep. Friday morning, I woke up. I was feeling fine. I think I was brushing my teeth, and my back started hurting. And I was like, "What's that?" Didn't think nothing of it. But by the end of the day, I was pretty stiff and painful. I was in a lot of pain, so I had to pull out some old prescription meds that I shouldn't probably be using. But I felt I needed some prescription strength. Yeah. I hoard that stuff. Whenever I really get hurt, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, give me that. Let me get that," and I just keep it for when I really do need something. But had to pull out some meloxicam and took that, trying to help my back. And then this morning I woke up, man, my shoulder was hurting for no apparent reason. Like my shoulder is sprained. Ain't done nothing.
Is the back still hurt?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm all right. I'm moving now. I know Friday or Saturday morning, I didn't know where I would have been able to even come downstairs to record. Like, that's how bad it was. So
yeah, man. Once you mess up like the back, then all of the like your neck, you're susceptible to throwing everything else off because it's all connected, man. So I've been there, man. Yoga, I do yoga, man. I just do it, like put on YouTube, find some yoga videos. Not nothing too weird, but just some basic stretches.
Yeah, shout out to Fat Guy Yoga. I do look at a dude called Fat Guy Yoga, and he's just a fat dude doing some yoga. So shout out to him. I have done it a few times, but I need to increase my viewings and do it a little bit more. But
you and Paul need to do a yoga pod.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be the worst pod. It'd be the worst yoga pod in history.
Right,
man. Every time I go there, I've gone to yoga classes at my old gym. Oh man, I always feel like a creep in there. Every time I go in there, I feel like a creep and a weirdo, and I hate it. I hate going.
But you are a creep and a weirdo, so you should.
I am a creep and a weirdo, yeah. But man, look, I be trying to put like the blinders on. Like I wish I had like some blue blockers. I could just look down. Man. But every time I went in there, I'd feel like a total weirdo, man. Like
let the record show that I've gotten plenty of texts from Paul after a yoga class.
Hey, I would always feel like a weirdo, man. If you're a dude going to yoga class, it just never feels comfortable. But it can help your back, can help your flexibility. So I encourage people to try it. But that's why I got into the YouTube, because I was like, man, I don't feel comfortable in the class. So I'm gonna do it in my house, man. And I like that a lot better. So nobody's eyeballing me. I don't have to worry about passing gas up in there. All the important things, man.
Paul being looking like Borat.
Oh, exactly, man. With the Speedo on, yeah, that's me.
All right, but the real weekend Blackness was at the barbershop on Saturday. Me and Trenton went to go get our hair cut, and man, a bunch of topics came up. I can't talk about all of them, unfortunately, because I feel like it would be a whole show if I really talked about it. And I don't think I can give this dude justice. But, every once in a while you go to the barbershop and that one crazy dude is saying the craziest things ever where the entire barbershop is involved in this conversation. It was one of those situations. Dude talked about Cadillac Convertibles, man purses, and then he was sock shaming up in there. He was actually sock shaming. Sock shaming, yes. So, quickly, the Cadillac Convertibles was one of them situations-ish where you talked about you had a guy at your church that was pronouncing stuff wrong. That was this dude. So, he was up there, he kept talking about, yeah, man, I got, I've been working on my car, but I want to, I got a Cadillac, I need a Cadillac Convertible, blah, blah, blah. He kept saying it where I thought he actually wanted a Cadillac Convertible.
Right. Get your little drop top.
Yeah, get you a drop top, yeah. Weather was great on Saturday, feel the breeze, I was thinking that. And then he was like, yeah, man, ain't y'all ever had a project car? And we was like, a project car? He's like, so your Cadillac is your project car? And he was like, no, man, I don't have no Cadillac. He's like, I told you the car need a Cadillac Convertible. And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, you mean a catalytic converter? So all this time, this dude was talking. He needed a catalytic converter on his car, not a Cadillac Convertible. So that was pretty stupid. Yeah. So then we talked about man purses because dude was talking about, yeah, man, I had my bag on. And so, they had to make fun of him like, oh, young buck, like, what you got one of the man purses? And he was like, oh, yeah, I got a man purse, Sometimes I keep two of them. He's like, I keep one on my back, one on my waist, because you never know what you're going to need, what you're going to need to put in there. And we like, man, are you serious right now? Bro, he was bragging on having a man purse. He went into some other stupid stuff, and he was talking about how all these guns he got and how he need to put them in his purse. And he's like, yeah, and you're going to get shot. You're going to be dead reaching in your purse because you ain't got time to be reaching in your purse for nothing, bro. That dude, man, he was ridiculous. But the sock shaming, I thought, was the dumbest part of it. The dude was going in on people talking about we was old because we ain't have cool socks and all this kind of stuff. And look at your socks, they just white. Like, you just got Hanes socks on, man. He's like, man, look at me. I got these striped socks on, man. They go with this. They got the what's name on the bottom. He's like, matter of fact, sometimes I wear my girl socks because they just got one pink stripe on the bottom and you can't even tell. And I was like, bro, like, are you sock shaming up in here right now? That dude felt the need to go around and he was making fun of all of our socks. So shout out to that dude at the barbershop, man. It was the most entertaining barbershop time I've had in a long time. I ain't even want to leave as long as that dude was there. I felt I should just stay.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if the barbers, if they give dudes like that, like, here, I'm going to give you a free cut. You just come in and basically entertain the group, and you got cuts for free. It's just like the shop entertainment. Yeah, man. It felt like that. He might have been a plant. I think so.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too specific, but just going back to the man purse, like, man, I cannot stand the rise of the man purse, but related to that, the also thing I can't stand is the fanny pack. Have you noticed, like, fanny packs?
Fanny packs are back. Caleb bought one. Back. Yeah, Caleb went and got one specifically. No. Come on, man.
So look, man. At work, we got a dude. We got a dude, and we have, like, at work we do have dudes that carry guns. There are dudes that carry guns at my job.
They better.
And so I had to go on this is years ago, but I had to go on a work assignment with a dude, and so we're up in there, and one dude. So they're like, some dudes are required to carry guns, and so they carry the guns. I'm not allowed to carry a gun, but they carry guns, and so they got it on them,
or
but,
don't need
it's
to
kind of
carry
like, it's all, I always like to ask, like, where they got, where they carry it at or whatever like that. Most dudes, the older dudes, they usually have the sports coat. So whenever you see a dude like in some hot, I think we were in Vegas this time, and so you see a dude in 112 degree weather, he got a sport coat on. That means he's strapped. That's how when he's working with us, that's how you know that dude's strapped, because it's 112 degrees outside. Ain't nobody supposed to have no sport coat on. But this one other dude, he usually carries around a fanny pack, and I was like, you get no street cred for carrying the gun around in the fanny pack. That is like the weakest look ever. And so, like, that dude, like at work, I'd always joke on him because I can't respect him, but that's how he rolls. He rolls with the gun in the fanny pack at work, man. And I'm like, nah, man, that's not cool at all, man. You got to get like the ankle, you got to get the little ankle, the little strap or the side holster. You can't have the fanny pack, man. But
now, Phenom, I know for a fact that you got a satchel. You got a satchel, right?
A satchel?
Yes. I'm gonna say a satchel and not a man purse.
Is that a hemp? Is that like a hemp woven fanny pack? Is this what this is?
No, I have a laptop bag. My laptop bag is, well, it's kind of a convertible bag, so I wear it as a backpack, but you can also just carry it like a regular, I guess, satchel laptop bag that goes over your shoulder, but I wear it as a backpack. So yeah, I don't roll with the bag on my shoulder hanging off like that. I don't rock with the LeBron James look, man. I just go with the backpack.
I don't have a fanny. I don't have a man purse, but I do have like this. I don't know. The company called Toomey. They make like bags and stuff like that. But I got a bag. It's like a little mini book bag, and I take it whenever I go on trips. And so it's like it's not a fanny pack, but or not a purse. But I don't know. Some people some of my like coworkers have called it a purse before, and I do not appreciate that. It is not a purse. It is a book bag. But
yeah, most people that have man purses don't consider it a man purses. The rest of us that call you out on it.
I'm gonna take a picture.
Yo,
of
but
this
this dude was representing though. He was like, yes. He specifically said out his mouth purse like 3 or 4 times. And I told him, I said, man, even if I was down with this bag, I would never say out of my mouth the word purse that I got one. And he was just like, look, man, call it what you want to call it. It's a purse. I need my stuff in it and this and that. And I was just like, dang.
Yeah,
Dog,
that
I remember
dude
the first
is
time
clearly trying to be trendy. You know, he making fun of y'all socks. He wearing the man purse loud and proud. So he just into that metrosexual movement. He just like, look, I'm embracing it. I'm trendy. I'm hip. He probably got a suit with the shorts, you know, that people wear nowadays. So that's just him. He just want to embrace that trendiness. He's fashion forward, as they like to call it.
Man, the first time I saw the man purses was like 2002, 2003. I went to my sister's graduation at Howard. And so this was Howard graduation. Man, there were man purses everywhere. I had never, I hadn't been living on the East Coast anymore. I'm down in South. They ain't riding with the man purses down in Tennessee. No. But up in D.C., those fashionable dudes, man, they all had them. And I was like, what is this? I mean, they were huge. Some of them were like, it was a woman's purse, man. There wasn't no difference to me. It was a woman's purse. I don't care what nobody said. That was a woman's purse that dude had with him, with his matching outfit. And I was like, that is hella whack, but what can I say, man? I'm washed, so I don't know.
All right, Black Delegation, we vote nay on man purses.
No,
nay.
Man purses, get them out of here.
All right.
Out.
All right, so this week headline, let's get into the white collar crimes.
My week in Blackness,
did I skip? Huh? Oh, dang.
Just skip me. Just forget
you whitewashed your week in Blackness. Whitewashed
it.
That's because it was tough because I forgot we were going to put you in there because your week in Blackness goes in with the last thing. Why don't you do white collar crimes then?
I don't know if I researched all those as well, but let me go into my week in Blackness and we'll sort that out.
Yeah.
So I got 2 items, and I'll try not to draw them out because we almost 20 minutes in already. But the first one, this is like an open letter to Best Buy. I need y'all to get y'all sales representatives. They got to step their game up. So I'm trying to think of what day this was. Maybe Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Had to roll out to Best Buy. I went on my lunch break. Because I'm looking at some new alarm systems. I had way too many false alarms with my old one. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to roll up to Best Buy, check out what they got. It was a new system that was coming out earlier in the week. I wanted to check that out. So I go up to Best Buy. I walk in, go to the alarm section, looking at all the alarms. I see the one that I really wanted to check out. It was there, played with it, tinker. Looked down on the shelf. There were no boxes. So I'm like, okay, I know this just came out. So I'm like, either they don't have it on the shelf or maybe they sold out already. So I look for a representative. Nobody's in that area. Went over to customer service for a second. I was going to ask them, but it was a line and they were just taking too long. So I walk back over to the alarm system and I see what appeared to be 3 Best Buy employees over, talking about something. It was a black guy, a white guy, and a black lady. Well, I found out later as I approached them, the black lady was just a lady wearing a blue Best Buy colored shirt, but she was actually a customer. So the black guy and the white guy are helping her. So I go up, I ask them, I said, hey, I want to check out this alarm. Do you guys have them in stock or did you sell out already? So the black guy first to respond, and he's like, oh, they don't make alarms, the company that I was looking at. I said, no, yeah, they do. I said, and you actually have one right over there. He's like, no, you must be talking about something else. And I said, no. I said, I actually just looked at it. And then the white guy's like, no, he's right. They do have an alarm coming out, but it's not out yet. It's not for sale yet. I said, well, so it was on your website. It said it was available today. I was just over there looking at it. I just didn't see any boxes. So they roll over. The guy rolls over with me. I pointed out to him. He's like, oh, yeah. So he looks on his phone for maybe about 90 seconds. He's like, oh, yeah, this does say it comes out today. I'm like, yeah, I told you. So then he walks over to like a manager. I know this is a manager because the guy, he's not wearing the little blue Best Buy polo. He's wearing a button down. So he goes and conferences with this dude. And yada yada. So meanwhile, the black guy comes over. They both left the lady that they were helping when I approached them. So the black guy comes over and he's mad now because he's looking at the alarm I was looking at, and he's like, man, they got me out here looking bad. I ain't even know this came out. They ain't tell me nothing about it. And so the black lady who they were helping had come around, and she's looking, and she's mad because she's like, I asked y'all about that, and y'all said that wasn't out yet. And the black guy, he's, defending him. Man, I'm sorry. They ain't even tell me that, blah, 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 blah. So it's just like utter chaos. So finally the white guy comes back over, tells me they do have it in stock. He's going to go grab one for me. I'm like, cool. So then the black lady's asking the black guy about this alarm system, who he didn't even know it was in existence. So I step in, I'm explaining like all the features, like what this box has versus this box. And I'm sitting up here breaking down the whole thing on this alarm. So I'm like, the guy brought me my package back or whatever, got it, boom, headed out the door. But I'm like, I need commission for my own sale, and I need commission for that black lady if she buy it, because y'all didn't know nothing about this. And I feel like every time I go into Best Buy, it's that way. Like the people
Man, it's
don't
been
know
like that since the
anything
beginning
about
of
the
time.
products.
But they don't get commissions, though, do they? I don't think they get commissions anymore.
They don't.
So that's why they don't care. There's no incentive for them to know this stuff anymore.
Yeah, I
But that's
need
always
people to
been
know
the problem
something.
with Best Buy. Like, that's why I don't really even go there no more, man. You can't ask anybody in any electronics department at any store, really, for any kind of help, because they won't know.
If you go to the stereo section, I will say that if you not that I buy a whole lot of high end stereo equipment, but if you have questions on that, those dudes generally are pretty knowledgeable. That whoever's back in there usually knows that stuff at least. At least my experience with that. But all the other stuff, yeah, you're right. It's just you just look it up yourself, man. In fact, I don't even do that in Best Buy. I just buy that stuff online and pick it up in store. That's all I do.
Now I will shout out Guitar Center, because the Guitar Center does know about their stuff. Because when I was looking for microphones back in the day when we was rapping, dude gave me a lot of information.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because those dudes are music. Those are music junkies.
Yeah, that's such a specialized store. But anytime you get these big box stores, I was talking to a family member. It was about Home Depot. He said the same thing. Like Home Depot, they just hire guys. They don't really train them. They don't know anything about that stuff.
No. Hold on, no. This is false. There's a trick to this. In Home Depot or Lowe's, man, you got to find the
oldest person.
Find the oldest person. Find the oldest white dude that looks like he ain't done nothing but like hammer and drill stuff his whole life.
Right.
And now and ask that dude. Just go find that one dude. That dude will tell you like, oh yeah, you need a 3/8 bit millimeter screw for this or something like that. He'll give you all the detail. He'll break it all down to you. Don't ask that lady. Don't ask any lady in there. No offense to the ladies out there. If you know your stuff at Home Depot, all good. But don't ask them. Don't ask the young dude.
Sexist.
Ask the old grizzled
Very
dude.
sexist of you, Paul.
Right. Email Paul at boxwinepoppy@gmail.com.
That's right. Hey, send me all the smoke.
But
You
yeah,
can't
I mean,
send it
there's
to me.
always that exception. There's like one or two people that know everything in the store, and then everybody else knows nothing. So, Best Buy, I'm gonna need you to step your game up. The second thing, and this is really, really odd, and should be brief, but so Saturday after I got done hooping, and I hoop on the west side of town, it's basically in the hood, and so got done hooping. I'm leaving out, about to head back home, and as I turn out of, we hoop at this YMCA, as I turn out of the YMCA, going down the street, and all of a sudden I see a hearse first, and the hearse goes past, and see a couple cars behind there, so funeral procession, right? And then maybe 4 cars back behind the hearse, I see a car, or it's a SUV, and it's like folks hanging out the windows on every window except the driver. Like the back 3 windows is people just hanging out the sides, just rolling, just kicking it, just hype. So I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then there's like another regular car, and then the next car, more people hanging out. So there's probably 20 cars in this funeral procession, and I say at least 12 or 13 of them, everybody was just hanging out. They swerving, through all the lanes, bumping music loud, but they just like having a party. It was one dude that was straight ghost riding. Like he's driving, and he's sitting on the driver's side window, like swerving in and out the lane. So I was like, first of all, I was glad that I beat that and I kind of got out the way. But I'm like, that's really the first time I've ever seen that. Now I did go on YouTube, and I did see a couple other instances. So I guess this is just something that people do now. But that was my first time. That was the most hood funeral processional that I have ever witnessed.
Yeah, that is wild. That is wild. Do we want to get into the top? Do we want to go into the topics now?
We'll go ahead. So
related to that, I got a story I can piggyback off this. So we're talking about funerals. So this week, BBC News had a story, and I never heard this before, but there's actually in Africa, I'm not sure which country, but there are women that are paid to cry at funerals. And so these ladies, they go to your funeral, even if they don't know you, and they're basically actresses, and they will cry at your funeral. And that just had me feeling some kind of way, because it's like, man, that's wild. I never knew that was a thing, but I was reading up on it more, and apparently it is a thing all across the world, like in other cultures. I guess just not in Western culture, but in Africa and Asia, this is a very common thing. India, in fact, very common to have paid mourners. And so I just want to ask the black delegation: would you guys feel weird if you went to a funeral and there were paid mourners there at that? And would you want that at your own funeral?
Well, I don't even know if you could tell, because there were certain funerals that I've been to where I feel like that person ain't really crying. That person shouldn't be crying that hard. You know, like it's not even a relative. It's like your spouse's co-worker's cousin funeral that you went to, and you doing all that weeping. So I feel like some people just do that anyway. They doing it for free. Like, you might as well go ahead and get some business cards and sell yourself out. But I don't know. It's a different culture. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
I don't know. You definitely can't call them out. You can't be like, "Are you faking right now?" You can't seriously be crying that hard. Like, because that's inappropriate. But what I wanted at my funeral, I'm going to say, let's go out on a limb, and I'm going to say yes. No. I'm going to say yes. I want, because I need to know who's really there for me. I don't want you to feel like you at my funeral because you got to be there, just like to show your face. If you don't really want to be there and you ain't really sad, don't even show up. It's cool. Nobody gonna remember. I ain't tripping. My wife gonna get that bag, and she gonna move, probably marry another dude or something. It's whatever.
But what happens becomes like a cry off. Like, what happens is like the paid mourners, and then you can't the family, the real family can't let the paid mourners outdo them. Then it gets into all theatrical. It could be like a cry off in there, man.
But I guarantee. I do guarantee, because I do know a couple relatives that may or may not listen to this podcast ever, but they will probably beat any professional crier when my time comes, if it's before them. Can't tell you why. It's just one of those things. They just one of those people. Yes.
But hey, this could be the new side hustle, man. I mean, we should bring this into the United States. We could get this going in St. Louis. We could get this going, man. Professional criers for funerals, man. All these girls in the video, no disrespect, they all look like they're eating healthy. I know they're hitting that buffet up extra hard. They're hitting that coming home service. Wow. Buffet extra hard after the thing. So this could be like a movie. This could be like Wedding Crashers, but like funeral crashers, man. With just some ladies that go crying. I see so many possibilities for this story, man. I see a movie.
If you are a professional funeral crier, hit me up at the Black Delegates on. You hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, and I'm gonna just start taking one with me when I go to funerals, because I'm kind of like Jay-Z. I can't see him coming down my eyes, so I'm gonna just have a paid crier with me, and then when it comes time to cry, I'm just look at them and I'm gonna let them do their thing, and people gonna be like, man, his guest, she really was feeling it.
The family be talking smack about these paid criers when they leave too. Because I know my wife, and we were at a funeral, and these girls were there. She'd be talking so petty about them. Because I know I've been to a funeral with my wife, and like it was one of her relatives, and there was like another relative that was there, and like how like the minister, when they're like giving their little speech or their sermon, and at the end of every like sentence, they're kind of making a point or like that. But there's always like one dude in the funeral that's always like going, yes, Lord, or something like that. My wife was like, and the dude did it like 30 times. My wife was like, well, he should shut the hell up. So I like going to black funerals, just for those little moments like that alone.
right. You
Yeah,
always
you should start going to a black church, bro.
Uh,
It's regularly, every week.
I'm gonna hit yours up. one of these days, man. I gotta go up in there with my.
Whenever you in town, everybody at church loves you, man, and they we want to meet him. So,
but you know I'm gonna bring a little whistle and say like, wrap it up.
oh, no, that's
if it's football Sunday, you know it's about when kickoff comes around, about 30 minutes before kickoff, I'm gonna be like, wrap it up.
Man, 30 minutes before kickoff, we still singing songs. What you talking about? Ain't been no sermon.
Pride just getting started.
Yeah,
Can't be there, man. I'm about to roll up out of there, man.
Ryan, the evangelist, he like, we gonna save your soul, Paul. We gonna get you.
Man, I'll be in there the whole. Look, you better have Wi-Fi in that church. I'm gonna be in there with my iPad and some headphones on, just watching the game and like looking up, and just doing like they do. Yes, Lord. Just keep on going. That's all I got, fellas, man. It was a slow week for me, man. But anyway, so yeah, funeral criers, man. That might be my new side hustle. I need to pay for this kid's college fund some kind of way. So if anybody needs a professional crier, I will come to your funeral and cry. No problem, man.
Well,
I'll definitely do that.
Well, Paul, before you jump into this new side hustle career, I'm gonna go ahead and move into our white collar crimes. It's our segment where we talk about people who have the cops calling on them. Ryan got the little audio, the new audio going.
Yeah.
So the first story in white collar crimes, I'll do this, Ryan. You can take the other ones. Is mourning while black. So what happened is a family was in a church, the Archdiocese of Washington. Well, that's the Archdiocese of the church. They were in St. Mary's Catholic Church in Charlotte Hall, Maryland. They were having a funeral, but somebody accidentally knocked over the church's chalice, which is a religious wine cup, and the pastor got a little pissed off. How pissed off? The pastor kicked him out the church. Not only did he kick him out, he called the police to make sure that they were escorted out the church.
He said, get the hell out the church.
Get the hell out of the church. So before you jump into that new business venture, just know, I mean, you're a brown person. Brown people get the same treatment as black people a lot of times, but you better be careful because they might call the police on you.
Right.
Ryan,
and our second white collar crimes is swimming while black. In North Carolina, a white man called the police on a black family at the local pool because he thought that he didn't think they were rich enough to be there.
Hashtag ID Adam.
Right. Despite her having the swipe card to get in,
yep,
and having he asked her for her address. She gave him the address, verbally, of course. He's like, yeah, that is in this neighborhood. He didn't think that was good enough. Asked for a driver's license. And she was like, oh, no, we're not doing that. So he decided to call the police and stood there. The police did handle it properly. Unfortunately, they did make her go through all the steps of swiping her card and all that kind of stuff and then let her into the pool. So, yep.
But that dude got fired. He got fired from his job for that. Yep.
Oh, did he?
And he resigned from the HOA. So there was a little bit of justice there.
Yep.
The part of the video that was funny was at the end so after the cops had come and they basically settled everything. The lady pulled out her card again, swiped it to make sure that it was good. Which like my subdivision has a pool, and that's how it works too. You got like a little key card. You put it up there. If you paid your dues and everything, you're current. It should open up. So once they did that, the dude was like, okay. But then the dude, he was still trying to double down. He was like, if you could just give me an address, that would be great. And it was like, or that'd be nice if you could give me an address next time or something like that. He wouldn't let it go, man. It was wild. Like just like, dude, the cops are there. You're on camera. You're looking like a fool. They're telling you nothing's no problem, and you're still trying to double down.
What was his job? Do you know?
They said the name of the company. They didn't say exactly what his job was. But it was a large. It seemed like it was a fairly large company or a national company or international type company. But I don't know exactly what. But it wasn't too far from here. It's like an hour and a half north of here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina is where they actually happened at. So kind of crazy story. But yeah, the dude he's definitely suffered the repercussions of that.
And I believe that was on the 4th of July, too. So on Independence Day, this man saw a black lady and her child in the swimming pool and was like, you know what? Got to call the police. They got.
Dog, I don't even go to my subdivision's pool on 4th of July because everybody's off work. Everybody goes out there on 4th of July, man. I went out there last year with my niece on 4th of July, man. It was so crowded we couldn't even find a seat in there, man. It's like just everybody comes out. So like, why would you expect to like recognize every single one of your neighbors?
Right.
Out there, like there's gonna be people you just don't recognize. You don't know who's wife, who's living with somebody, that's just let it slide, man.
Hey,
Chill out.
ID Adam was like, I would recognize that black one.
Right.
He's like, I see black.
And the lady had an African accent, so you knew she was, she was definitely black. She had that real heavy African accent that she was, I don't know, Nigerian or what, but yeah, man. But she was going in on him on that video, man. It was pretty funny. She wasn't playing with that dude.
It's repercussions, y'all. It's repercussions. Ryan, what's the last one?
White collar crimes number 3: campaigning while black.
Oh, yeah.
A local black representative in Oregon, which if you see a black person in Oregon, you probably should call the cops.
I can't blame him. I can't blame him for this one. I can't blame him.
Because I don't know no black people live in Oregon. But hey, she was going door to door campaigning, asking people for their support. And a white person called the cops and said that she was spending a little bit too much time on her phone in between talking to people.
Right.
So the cops were called.
We need to have a segment, a follow-up segment to white collar crimes called White Devil's Advocate, where alt-right Poppy and alt-right Ryan.
That's just the everyday podcast anyway. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Paul, I have actually said that in a conversation before. I said I would never say it on the podcast.
I'm just joking. This is ridiculous. For the one in the church though, man. What if they put lean in the cup, man, and then they knocked it over? I'd be upset too. I might have to put it outside the church.
Racist. You don't know what they were doing.
It's just gonna kick my ass next time.
Yeah, let's let Paul out of this one easily. So we just won't even talk about what he just said. All right, next topic. All right, fellas, it's just something that I heard in conversation, probably on another podcast, where they were just talking about Magic Johnson and being in LA and how great of a businessman he was. And one of the hosts on the show said that Magic Johnson was more successful than Michael Jordan in business, mind you. And I just thought that was a pretty interesting topic. I thought, Michael Jordan seems to be the number one businessman in as far as athletes go in my eyes. I know Magic has a lot of things going on, but do y'all think that he would be considered more successful than Jordan?
Well, I think it depends. Or go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
I think it depends on how you define successful. I mean, when we think about athletes who have become businessmen, Magic Johnson is especially the one for black folks, where Magic is the one that made it. He got the Magic Theaters. He's got a bunch of different business ventures that have been successful. So we feel like he is a very good businessman. Now, when it comes to Michael Jordan is probably 3 times as wealthy as Magic Johnson is. Now, Michael Jordan, most of his wealth has come from what? Number one, Nike. Jordan, brand Jordan, where he gets like $100 million every year just based off of how well Jordan brand sells. So Michael Jordan was able to market himself better than any athlete in the world. And you see LeBron James now is coming up. He has a similar type of just endorsement, bang for the buck or endorsement value. But Michael Jordan is the GOAT in sports marketing ever, and so much so that I think now his net worth is like $1.65 billion.
Bees.
So bees. But if you wanted to start a business and somebody said, all right, start a business, you could either get the help of Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson. Who are y'all picking? That's the interesting question.
Yeah, for me, it's like, it's kind of like what you said. Like Michael Jordan, all his stuff has come pretty much from basketball. I mean, let's be honest, he's not really like he's a great like Nike did great with his image and everything like that. But just as a person alone, he is not a great endorser of any like I'm not like this dude's never really excited or nothing. He's just got Gatorade commercials, some Wheat Hanes commercials. Yeah,
come on, bro.
Those commercials
Bacon
are
necks.
trash.
Come on,
yeah, man. It's like he's not really like inspiring or anything like that. But he was the GOAT, and his relationship with Nike and the shoes that they really built around him. I mean, that's where his money comes from. And so yes, he's much more wealthier. He owns the local team where I live out here, the Charlotte Bobcats. But he's kind of He's not doing a good job running the team, honestly.
Trash GM, but he's an owner.
He got rid of Dwight Howard, so.
But let's remember this dude's worth $1.3 billion. Let's remember that this dude's probably squandered. Let's say this dude's squandered, $500 million, maybe $250 million in gambling and just other dumb things over his entire life, like.
So that would mean he was even more successful than we give him.
Yeah, he could be even more successful. But Magic, he went out west and he got with other companies and so I would say from a holistic business sense, okay, even though he doesn't have more money, but I guess he's taken stakes in other ventures and they've worked out for him. But the reason he had to do that is because Magic didn't play as long as Jordan. I mean, Magic's obviously his career was cut short. He couldn't play as long, so hey, how's he going to make his money last? He's got a family, and he didn't. Of course, he had other complications. He didn't know how long he was going to live at that time. So let's go into some other ventures. So maybe it was by necessity he had to get into some of these other things, like the movie theaters and things like that, which obviously worked out great for him. And now he owns a small part of the Dodgers, and does he own a small part of the Lakers too, or no, Ryan?
Not anymore. He had to sell it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was only a small.
It was about 5% at the time.
Okay, yeah. So man, he's Magic's more all over. Like Jordan, just kind of like he's just floating off that Nike money, really. But I mean, maybe so. It depends if you're going on money or you're going by like business acumen. I would say, Magic's got better business acumen, but Jordan, I mean, his money's long like Jordan, like they say, man. That's it.
Is that how you say that word, acumen? Because I always say acumen.
Acumen.
Hey, if you say Rachel Dolezal instead of Dolezal, then I can say acumen.
Hey, I'm asking for clarification. I wasn't making fun of you because I figure I probably have been.
How the kids gonna learn? How the kids gonna learn if we don't correct you?
I'm gonna take my Cadillac Convertible and I'm getting up out of this conversation.
So Ryan, what about you? Because you said you stepped into that conversation initially, right?
Yeah, and I think what you said was probably the best way to sum it up. You said whether or not you would ask them to help you to start a business, would you go to Jordan or would you go to Magic? And I think Jordan. Magic would definitely be the one I would choose if you're going to build something from the ground up, because I think, like Paul said, Jordan has been floating along on the Nike money and his persona of just being Jordan and being the greatest. So that's kind of put a lot of money in his pockets. But Magic, on the other hand, he's been building. I mean, he had a lifetime contract for $25 million, right?
Yeah.
Was that his deal? And then he's had to accumulate $1 billion now just off, his own doing things, because he's not selling shoes or anything like that. Has he ever had shoes? I don't think so.
The Converse back in the day.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Come on, man. If it was back in the 70s, bro, I wasn't wearing no Converse.
I don't think Magic is worth $1 billion, though, bro.
I think I just looked it up.
I don't see him on the list of black billionaires.
From what I saw, his estimated net worth is like $500 million.
This is 2018. It says, as a businessman, he has Magic Johnson Enterprises, which has a net worth value of $1 billion.
Right. His business might be worth $1 billion.
Yeah, but he's not the sole ownership.
He's not the sole owner. They got a lot of assets and liabilities.
Okay, here we go. Magic Johnson net worth currently $600 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So MJ is like double that. Yeah.
And he said he has his enterprise includes partners AMC Theaters, Starbucks, TGI, Burger King, and many others. I thought he had some Krispy Kreme at one point in time, but maybe that's not the case anymore.
Ryan, Ish. So Ryan, I know you've seen it, but Ish, have you ever seen the video of Michael Jordan, like from last year, where he was at the North Carolina Tar Heel game and he came out at halftime?
No, I don't think so. Why? What's up?
So this is how Michael Jordan be floating, man. So this dude came to the game. This is I think it was like the North Carolina Duke game. So that at halftime they called him out there to like kind of like cheer the team on. So he got on the microphone, and the man was clearly lit beyond belief. So he came out there and said the sky is the sky is the roof. I think is what he said in the quote. That's how drunk he was.
Yo, nice.
He was like trying to encourage him. He was like the sky is the roof, and then he just walked off and dropped the mic.
Dropped the mic.
And so they started making shirts like Nike started making some North Carolina Tar Heel shirt that said "The sky is the roof" or whatever like that. So man, this dude becoming lit to college games and stuff like that. So I think think Magic, probably doesn't drink anymore. It probably hasn't drunk in a long
ain't no
time.
way.
So I think he's keeping this, facility. So I think it shows you just a little bit more. He's a little bit more serious minded. Jordan's he's just cashing those checks and he ain't caring, man. He's just living the good life, man. I don't even know how many Charlotte Hornets.
You heard what Charles Oakley said. You heard what Charles Oakley said. They always drink, man. He always drink.
Yeah, man. He got a cigar. He got a fine, like a Spanish lady, a brown delegation member on his arm, and he just living the life, drinking, gambling, and smoking, man. Ain't thinking about none of this business stuff, man. Just whatever. The checks are coming in, man. He's good.
Yo, shout out to Michael Jordan jeans, because his jeans are always like 12 sizes too big, bro.
Oh, he got the baggy joints.
Always. He should have. If he would have sold those, like Rockaware did back in the mid '90s, he would be worth like $2.5 billion now.
We all got to adjust our fashion. My MJ is like, hey, whatever was comfortable for me in like 1997, I'm cool. I'm just gonna ride with that until I die. And that's what he's doing. He's just riding with that fashion sense. The suits, the big suits, everything. He's like, I'm just sticking with this to the grave, man. So,
hey, whatever
he's
works.
Cool, man. But yeah, the pants are a little baggy.
Hey, when you Jordan, though, you can wear whatever you want.
Yep.
Man, what? You can. Yeah, you can. Look, I don't even know how many. I want to know how. Like, I live in Charlotte. I legit don't know how many Hornets games he comes to. I'd be shocked if it's more than. If there's 41 home games a year. Man, I'd be shocked if he comes to more than 10 or 20. Man, I can't imagine. He probably down in Vegas or Miami gambling or somewhere across the world. Like, I'm sure he's not here in Charlotte.
He just signed Tony Parker, so clearly he's at the top of his game.
He's gonna be at every game now.
He's on top of his game, bro.
And he brought Mitch. He brought Mitch Kupchak out of retirement. Dude is 80 years old. Like, here, you can run the franchise.
Ryan, what have I told you about the Hornets? They always bring in people that are way past their prime. Everybody that you ever thought was that you thought could have been good, like 3 years before, like that's who the Hornets signed. Always.
Basically.
Always. And so, Tony Parker, they looked at this like, oh, Tony Parker's available? Is this 2008? Okay, let's sign him. And that's what they did. That's what they always do, man.
10 years too late.
10 years too late.
All right. So, all right, so let's move on to the next topic. This is Ishmael's a real-life prison break.
Real-life
Ishmael, go ahead and tell us about this story.
Yo, this is the dopest story ever, man.
Yeah, so this story, and this is a little break. A lot of time we talk about black stories. I really don't think it's any black people involved in this story, but it's a dope story anyway. So the link, which we'll have in the show notes, is from CNN. This is a gentleman named Redwine Faid, and don't know if I said that right. Probably said it wrong. Please don't come and murder me the next time you get out of jail. So basically, this guy was in prison
Say my name.
5 years ago, and he blasted his way out with explosives. Nice prison break. Got out of jail. They caught him. He ended up escaping again. How did he escape? The second time, he had his homies hijack a helicopter, and then they picked him up from the roof or from one of the windows of the prison. He got caught again, but Mr. Faid was not deterred. Just as recently, I think about a week ago, he had 2 or 3 homies again hijack a helicopter. They forced the pilot to fly to his prison near Paris. And once again, he got broke out of jail. 3 times this man has escaped from prison, twice with a helicopter. And as I dug for more in this story, because I'm like, man, how do you escape from prison in a helicopter? Like the coordination that's needed to plan that type of heist in 2018 especially is just crazy. But this is not the first time that's happened in France. There was another guy named Pascal Payet. Don't know if I'm saying that right, probably not. But he used a helicopter for 3 separate prison escapes back in the day. I think the most recent one was like 2001 or 2007, actually. So what's up with France and people escaping from prison in helicopters, number one? And then number 2, if y'all got locked up, and of course the chances of being black and brown people, chances are pretty decent. How would you escape from prison?
I'm gonna let you go first, Ron, on this one.
Okay. First off, France's air defense system is trash. There's no way that many times should a helicopter be able to fly onto your property, take a dude out the prison, and just fly back out. You either need to have a fence over the top of that joint, something. You need to have some kind of a gunner in a tower somewhere so you can just shoot them down. You got to have something. You can't just let people be flying in and flying out like it's a McDonald's drive-thru. Trash. Would I break out of prison? Yes, because the booty warrior is real. Ain't no way I'm ever staying in a prison for any amount of time. The second you give me more than how long could I probably do? Anything over 5 years, I'm trying to break out every year. Every day. Once we get to 5, I'm trying to break out every year. Once I realize I can't appeal, I can't do nothing, oh no, we breaking out. And I'm doing it like Michael Scofield. I'm getting all these different characters together. I'm going to have a plan. We're going to dig through the wall. We're going to go out on the lunch truck. We're going to do whatever. We're going to hide in the trash cans. Whatever we got to do, we're going to get out of there. I'm going to find one way or another to get out of prison.
Are you going to get the full body tattoo, though, like Schofield had in Prison Break?
Whatever I got to do. Yes, I do.
So Rhino's getting a full body prison tattoo, which they use like the Big Pen. I think they use like a little knife out from the kitchen. So,
you know what? I gotta hide mine. I'm just gonna do mine on my belly. I got enough. I'll just do it just on my stomach. So so I won't get a whole bunch of questions about my arms and stuff. I'll just have it on my belly.
All right. What about you, Paul?
Man, for me, first of all, like I think it's just crazy. Like, in America, we think like these prison breaks, like, if it's a prison break, it's like, okay, dude's like, put a knife up to one of the guards and, got some keys and, made an escape for it. But they usually caught pretty quick. That's usually how it goes in the United States. But these kind of elaborate, these like James Bond, Jason Bourne type prison escapes, you think like, okay, these never really happen. But yeah, they do happen usually in Europe, man. So like, it's not too surprising. I imagine like the security is set up pretty lax in France. I know, like, reading about Germany and like Germany's prison system. Basically, like, it's just like an honor system. Like a lot of like for the hardest criminals, like those, they're locked up like American prison. But for a lot of other dudes, like it's just like come and go as you please. They're kind of like on honor system, like check in at a certain hour and just stay in your room, and then you can go do things at night, in the day and stuff like that. But that's how prison works there. So, and I've heard about other like prison escapes. Like, there's really a dope story if you like want to get into it. Like, there's a German, like, there was like a German, like, basically like a communist organization. They were called the Red Army Faction, like back in the 70s and 80s, and they did a bunch of prison escapes. And these were like the top like criminals in the entire country or something like that. And they broke out of prison. It's like, how do they? And they like hijacked jets and hijack planes to force their people to get out of prison and stuff like that, all this crazy stuff. So there's some really interesting like prison escape stories out of Europe in the last like 20, 30 years. This dude is actually Algerian, so he's technically African, so he is part of the brown delegation or black delegation. I just want to point that out. Now, how would I escape from prison? First of all, the one thing I'm telling you I'm not going to do, I ain't crawling through no sewer like my man Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. That is one thing I'm not doing. Like, that dude, like, I felt like in that movie, that movie is great. It comes on all the damn time. But there's one thing I would not be doing, and that was going through no sewage tunnel through a mile of poop to get to freedom. I'd just be like, nah, I'm staying another 20 years, man. I'm good. But how I would get out.
Sign me up.
How I would get out is I was reading about, I think it was Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, a famous serial killer, but he escaped from prison like once or twice, man. And I think the second time he escaped from prison, he actually hid in like a laundry, like I guess they had laundry sent out, weekly or daily or something like that from the prison. And somehow he was able to hide in the laundry hamper way down at the bottom of that, and basically just got pushed onto the truck, taking the laundry to get sent out. And that's how he broke out of prison. So I think that would be the easiest for me, but definitely not doing the Shawshank Redemption route. I'm cool with all of that.
Now, Paul, this is for both of y'all. So let's say I got locked up and, I hit you up either I got a jail phone smuggled in, or maybe I just called you collect. And I'm like, yo, I'm locked up. I need y'all to get the chopper, or I need y'all to get a bulldozer. Are y'all coming to ride for your boy? Are y'all helping me get out?
I'm putting $20 on your commissary, and I'm gonna send you a box of Newports once a month. That's the best I can do for you, bro.
Right. I definitely put some money on your books, man. But like I told you, the booty warrior is real, and I ain't having it, dog. So I ain't doing nothing to get myself put in jail. I do everything I can to get out, but I ain't doing nothing to get put in.
Hey, real talk, the booty warrior's out of jail now. Like, he's been released.
Oh, is he for real? Wow.
So. Hey, do y'all remember when we were on the old group chat and we were and I put the clip of the real booty warrior and Ish thought it was always like just something from the Boondocks.
I always thought it was a joke. Yeah.
He thought it was. I remember Ish was like, oh, I thought it was a joke. I was like, nah, man, that dude's real. From those what were those was it prison locked up, right? That's what MSNBC locked up, man. Oh yeah, that I remember the first time I saw that booty warrior dude, I was like, nah, man, I can't go to I wouldn't last 5 minutes in prison because I see this baby smooth skin right here and these boyish good looks. I wouldn't last 5 minutes. Booty warrior would be all over me, man. So I can't go to prison, man. I'm walking the straight and narrow, and I'm definitely not breaking Ish out because I don't want to be in there with the booty warrior.
Well, luckily, my method for prison escape would not need y'all, because I figure that neither y'all are really ride or die homies, and y'all not gonna help me get out.
You gotta let
Number
G
one,
do it.
I would, try to collect any little spoons or forks, anything I can make to a prison shank, or anything I can make to try to dig out of walls, just in case plan number one doesn't work. But the way I feel like I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna try to outsmart the prison folks, and you see it happen from time to time where somebody gets a change of clothes and they convince the jail that they're, employee, a contractor or something like that. Well, the way I'm going to do it, and of course it requires access to a phone, so I'm going to have to get somebody to smuggle me in a phone. So all I got is time on my hands. So while I got my phone, I'm going to set up a website. And I'm going to set up a website that looks like maybe the prison website or something like that. Just set up one of those dummy sites that's just, it might be stlouisprison.com, and I'm going to set up stlouisrealprison.com or stlouisprison1.com or something like that. It's a little dummy site. You about to do all
this HTML5 on your phone.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Man, do you know about technology?
Squarespace.
You can set up websites on your phone, man.
Squarespace.
So I'm going to set this up. I'm going to set up a little fake email account, and this has actually happened before to where somebody set up a dummy site. They sent an email from the dummy site because they're not sending an email from hotmail.com. They send one that looks legit. You send that to whoever, the warden, and to the people. And if they fall for it, boom, you good. And how many times have we seen in recent history where like the president, his people get an email from somebody fake and they think that it's legitimate, or some politician gets an email from some pranksters, they think it's legitimate. So I'm going electronic with it. I'm gonna try to hustle my way electronically. That way I'm not crawling through poop like you was talking about, Paul. I'm not trying to dig out a wall for 30 years. I'm gonna find the forgery guy. Me and the forgery guy gonna get cool, and we walking out of there in broad daylight.
Now, I'm telling you right now, if me and Ishmael get locked up together, we getting out.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that one of the black delegation did not come with the great idea to basically do the Nick Cage, John Travolta face off with a white guy and then just walk about a prison, because they probably just let the white guy out, but they won't let you out.
Well, true.
So yeah. I'm disappointed y'all couldn't do that. Y'all couldn't come with something like that. Because that would be a great idea. Y'all figure out some kind of, smuggle in some kind of world renowned plastic surgeon, get the face off with somebody that looks like Justin Bieber, and you just walk out of prison. You be straight, man. You be good to go.
I don't even think you got to do that. And actually, I thought about that. That was like my runner up. I was like, I'm gonna just take all the mayonnaise and tartar sauce, and I'm gonna make a paste, a white paste, and put it on my skin and try to.
Why do it look like white chicks?
But I think right, exactly. But I think the better thing, like if I have to go Debo with it, if none of my other things are working, I feel like if you have to try to Debo your way out, people try to take a hostage. I saw one attempt where somebody had, I think it was like mangoes, but they painted them to look like grenades. And so they like threatened, like, hey, I'm going to blow everybody up unless you don't let me out. And they got out that way. Of course, they were caught soon thereafter. But
problem is getting
I
a
feel
ride.
like if you're going to hijack somebody, you can't hijack a black dude. Like, I can't grab you, Ryan, and be like, hey, let me out or I'm killing him. They're going to be like, they're just going to shoot both of us. So if you got to hijack somebody, you're going to have to get one of your partners. I'm not talking about assaulting white people, but you have a white buddy. You say, listen, I'm about to get us out of here. Let me take you as a hostage, because they're not going to shoot him. They're going to try to protect him. They're going to negotiate. But if it's two black dudes, if it's a black and a brown dude, it's a wrap. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll take my chances with a ragtag team that I put together. All right. Well, speaking of ragtag teams, let's talk about this, what I like to call AAU Raw. You heard of WWE Raw, but let's talk about AAU Raw. This looks like this happened on the 8th. At least this article is from Yahoo. July 8th, there was an AAU basketball tournament between the RAW Raw Athletics, which is a team from Chicago, and the Houston Raptors. They were playing in Atlanta on Sunday morning, it says, and things went awry, I'll say.
Yeah,
some kind of way. If you look at the Twitter video, why did the basketball team jump the referee? All out brawl. Apparently, they did not like his calls. This brother was taking some blows from a couple of players. They were jumping on him. He took his shirt off. He was so serious about it. This brother thought it was a good idea to take his shirt off and fight. And so that's that story.
And he took an L. More importantly, he took a serious L right there. But yeah, he wasn't having it. Yeah, I found the story online. Somebody just posted on Twitter. I caught on the timeline, but you don't really know exactly what's going on. You can't really tell exactly what transpired from the video. But apparently, one team it was kind of looked like it was a little late. One team was up by a decent amount, but there was still some time left. It looked like. I'm not sure what kind of calls were called, but anyway, the players, when the video comes on, the players are basically kind of already on this dude, the ref. And so at first it kind of settles down, but then the ref just won't let it go, man. So he's just hyped over there and then rips his shirt off. I'm sure Ish will put this in the show notes.
Yeah,
rips his shirt off, and he just keeps going. But then, like in the next video, like the ref is just getting wallowed by like 7-8 dudes, man. 7-8 teenagers, man. That's bad enough you're getting beat up by one teenager, but you're getting beat up by like 7-8 teenagers, and you got the ref uniform on. That's a huge L, man. He got to know better. Like, hey, man, I got to extricate myself from this situation right here.
Well, I feel like, and keep in mind, if this is AAU basketball, these are teenagers. I don't know what age range, but these look like, maybe 17, 18, somewhere, 16 to 18, somewhere in there. So who knows the full story of what happened? Clearly, the team was upset with some of the calls that this guy was making. The coach says that the referee ran up on the players. Some other people say that the players started the altercation. And in an ideal world, I'm thinking if I'm a referee, if I'm an official for AAU basketball, some players get up in my face, they're going to talk stuff, whatever, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to be the bigger man. I feel like even if a player puts his hands on me, like we get into this altercation, 16, 17-year-old kid just swings on me, hits me, I would hope that I have the wherewithal, that I have the maturity to say, you know what, this is a kid. I might grab him so he can't hit me no more, but I'm hoping that I can walk away from the situation.
But what if you did, and then the second you did that, then your daddy ran from the other court and he got into it too, which is what happened in this story.
Well, what I was going to say, though, is where my limit is and where the first clip that I saw starts is the referee had gotten, pushed or whatever onto the ground, and then they started stomping him. It was 3 players, and they stomping him. And I'm sorry. I don't care how old you are. Once your foot goes onto my head, you become an adult.
Gotta die.
So I feel the referee. Y'all said, why did he take his shirt off? I think the other referees were trying to hold him, saying, calm down. And he did one of them slick moves kids do a lot of times where, you grab me, but you grab my shirt. Now I'm going to dip out. And now I'm just shirtless. So I feel the referee, man. I feel bad for him because he definitely caught like 18 L's. He didn't catch one L. He caught a lot of L's. But I ride with him, man. You stomp on me, bro, we got to fight. And we got to fight either till I die or till somebody pull one of us off. I'm sorry.
All this tells me that, man, like I know talking to people, like being a coach, a volunteer coach for like say like a rec league basketball team or sports team, any sports team is just a thankless job. They always talk about like how the other parents complaining about this and that, not playing this kid enough or doing this or something like that. I can only imagine how bad being a referee for like amateur athletics is, because then not only you having to hear it from the parents, just like the coaches are, but nobody, and then the team, even the team don't like you either because you're just the ref. So like I can't imagine the amount of abuse that like a amateur referee would have to hear. Like, so okay, let me ask you guys, what's the worst y'all ever heard said to a referee? What's the worst y'all have ever said to a ref in a game? Because I know you hooped in high school. And Ron and oversee Ish probably cursing in English to dudes in Mexico. I still want to hear these stories. I still haven't heard these stories. All these podcasts later, but I need to get into that another day. What's the worst y'all ever said to a ref or heard said to a referee?
We definitely need G on this show. This is the episode for him, and G is probably the worst offender that I've seen.
Right.
I will say that this is not recently. He's calmed down a lot over the past couple of years, but back in the day, man, G will go off on officials just crazy. I mean, talk about them just like a dirty dog. And so, like I said, I've seen him get kicked out of games from middle school games all the way through high school and beyond, or even probably before middle school. Like, he just always has been like that. And he has more stories just now with him being a coach. He has more stories of seeing parents fighting or parents getting into it on the sidelines and all of that. So it's just crazy. I think that people look at professional athletes and they got those type of aspirations for their kids. And so anything that they feel is going to prevent their kid, they're like, hey, you got that call wrong. My kid ain't about to get to the NBA. And now they want to fight. So it's crazy. Parents need to chill. You need to calm down, quit trying to fight each other, quit trying to fight the coach, quit trying to fight the ref. But in this situation, this is players. And as a player, I mean, you got to have more sense, man.
Give us one good story from Mexico. I want to hear one good referee banking from Mexico. Come on, man. Give us something.
I had no beef with the referees in Mexico, man.
He was averaging like 50. They're not going to say nothing to him.
Right.
He had no problem with that. He was getting all the calls. They thought he was Jordan. At least that's how the stories were told to me. I don't know. I don't know what exactly a referee could say to me at any point in time where I'm just like, look, not only do I have to steal on you, I got to get all my teammates involved in this as well. These teams are from other areas, so it's not like they had a prior beef or anything like that where they knew the dude or he was talking to their mama or something like that. Because that's what it seemed like there was some personal something going on. But nah, man, I mean, was your toe on the line? Did they call 3 seconds? Was it a charge call that you thought, it shouldn't have been a charge? I don't really know what could have happened, man. But, I've never been in a situation where I was that upset about a foul call. Ever.
Right.
We should all preface this with like, hey, at least in America, this is pretty rare and kind of outrageous. But like in other countries, in soccer, I know I've read stories about like in Brazil where they basically I think there was one story in Brazil like a couple of years ago where they actually just killed a referee. Like they just killed him right there on the field because he made a bad call that they didn't like. This was like a low level semi-pro type soccer soccer team or whatever like that. But they killed him right there on the field, man, which is like, that is crazy, right? That's something we couldn't even imagine in this country.
Man, I don't know. I think it probably happens in America too. I mean, not killing, but we have a lot of terrible stuff happening in America that just kind of.
Oh, I know. So. Ryan, do you remember at the old field house on campus when I know there were multiple times when dudes were like, I'm gonna go get the strap, and the whole gym would clear out because I would sit over there and they would talk. Somebody would be like, man, I'm going to get the strap, and you'd be like, oh man, like
it never happened in any games I was involved in. So, but I mean, I would hear people say stuff like that. I don't think those were ever people that was supposed to be on campus though.
They weren't supposed to be. Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah.
It was dudes that weren't just dudes wanted to hoop, and that was a place to get a lot of good burn, and it was and it was indoor, so it wasn't like you outside in the hot sun all day long. So you go in there and stay cool and stuff like that. But there were definitely some thugs up there that liked to hoop, and there were definitely some stories about, hey, they're gonna go get some straps. And I definitely saw one wild fight between a dude, just like a city kid and like a big football player. And there was some broom swinging involved, and it was really funny, but it was also kind of scary at the same time. So yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff on the court back in my day.
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, we had that situation at our gym that time ish with Quan, rest in peace. But yeah, dude was out there, and he was about to get jumped by about 15 little kids. So, I guess it just depends on your demeanor, man. You had to try to talk everybody down. Like, look, we don't have to shoot nobody right now. We just hooping. And we can all go home tonight, but, people got to keep their cool under situations like that, man. It ain't worth it. When it's all said and done, you sitting there and you telling the cops what happened, I'm sure that story going to sound real stupid.
Right, man. He traveled. He took 3 steps. He said he ain't take 3 steps. Man, I don't play that. Like,
right.
What? What are you talking about?
He told me to get out of his face. It'd just be something stupid, man.
Right.
So
man, hey, but this happens every day. Like in Memphis a few years ago, at a gym, like a Anytime Fitness or one like a Lifetime Fitness, one of those type national type gyms. Like a dude just they had a basketball court in there, and dudes were hooping. Dude got upset, went to the car, got his pistol, came walk right back in, knew the cameras on him and everything like that, and just unloaded, killed the dude right there in the gym, man. It's like in a paid gym, like not like, hey, I'm just out, on a street ball court, nobody knows who I am. This is all on tape and everything like that, man.
I can promise you that dude couldn't hoop. I'm just saying, you can't hoop when you go to the car to get the strap. Man, you trash. You can't play. But, yeah.
So bringing it back to this story, man, the last thing I do want to say, and, I said I would be banging with the kids if they stomped me, but if you're a referee, if you're an official, like basketball is probably the wrong sport to be trying to bang with players, because basketball players are so athletic. I mean, you got the cats that are tall, that could jump, they strong. If I'm a fight some kids as an official, I'm gonna fight like the chess club. Like I'm gonna be like, what? I said that was a violation. Like I'm ready to fight the chess club members. Basketball or football players, them cats are in their athletic prime. That's a no-win situation for you.
The ref looked like he was in good shape. He looked like he played some hoop because he was tall, lanky, and slim. But I mean, yeah, but it's 7-on-1, man. You're gonna take that L, man. Those 18 L's, whatever he took, man. But yeah, you're right, man. These dudes are too athletic. These young kids, they got too much testosterone, man. You can't. This dude, I don't know how old he was. His hairline looked like he was 80. So he didn't look that old. He probably was in his mid 20s or early 30s, but his hairline looked like he had the little W going on up there at the top. So like, yeah, his hairline looked very weak, but he looked like he was in good shape, man. He could probably handle some of this 1-on-1, but yeah, 7-on-1, you're gonna lose that, man.
Yeah, every time. Man. Give me the ping pong kids any day.
I'm disappointed we're no big Mexican brawls, man. Not one Mexican brawl. All that time you're down there, not one Mexican basketball brawl.
Man.
Come on, man.
All love in Mexico, man. All love in Mexico.
All right, fellas. So we're gonna wrap it up there. That's all we got. That's all she wrote. Let's see. Ishmael, where can they find us?
You can find the Black Delegates podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Black Delegates. There's an underscore between Black and Delegates. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at The Black Ryan. You can follow me at Ish Creates. You can also listen to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Paul, if people want to help out the podcast, what do they need to do?
Subscribe on any of whatever your preferred podcast channel is, or a way to get podcasts, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Google Podcasts, whatever you got. Subscribe and then unsubscribe and then resubscribe. That's what you do. Subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Do that 1 billion times. We're gonna zoom up the charts. Hey, that's what you gotta do, baby.
Yo,
all right.
Shout out to Lauren. Was it Lauren Richardson? I think from the
Laurencia.
Yeah, Laurencia. Yeah, shout out to
I'll
her.
Probably take her name out.
Can
I take it? Do I need to do that?
Well, I was talking about the name from the actual comments, but anyway, shout out to Ryan's church member who has been blowing up the podcast comments. I guess she is a late comer to the Black Delegates podcast, and if she's been going listening to the episode, she's leaving comments on Podbean. So leave comments on Podbean, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever. Like, rate, share, all of that stuff. But shout out to Ryan's church member because she is definitely a big fan.
Yep. All right. So I guess parting words for the show would be, do we have before I do that, do we have a black business, a podcast that you want to shout out?
I do not have one this week, and we've been so long that
Okay.
We'll come back
All
to
right.
it next week.
All right, cool. Well, moral of the story this week is if you can't hoop, don't shoot up the spot. It really ain't going to make your game no better. Peace.